talking about?
About half of the immigrant flow right now.
So
90 countries are affected by the State Department ban.
How many people is that?
Well, it's at least 300,000 abroad and probably twice that when you consider the people already in the U.S.
So you're saying that 300,000 folks have gone to DA?
Welcome back to Freedom Forge. If you believe in truth, accountability, and standing up for the values that built this nation, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now, because we're just getting started. Today, we're breaking down a Senate hearing that exposes something deeply troubling. This hearing focused on fraud involving taxpayer-funded programs, particularly Medicaid, and how that money, your money, was allegedly stolen through organized schemes. Lawmakers questioned witnesses about scams involving fake invoices, fraudulent claims about feeding the poor, and even exploiting programs meant to support autistic children. What we're looking at here is not just isolated misconduct, but a systemic failure that raises serious questions about oversight, accountability, and priorities. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Schwartz, you're a professor at the University of Minnesota.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful state, by the way. Wonderful state.
It's a wonderful state.
Some people in your beautiful state went to your state Medicaid department and said, we want some taxpayer money, some being state taxpayer money, some being federal taxpayer money, to feed the poor. And these entities that did that got the money, and then they stole it. But to help cover their tracks, well, before I go there, do you think those people should be prosecuted?
I think if there is reason to pursue prosecution, of course they should be prosecuted.
Okay. Do you think their ethnicity should matter?
The ethnicity of these people should not matter.
Okay.
Not a bit.
Now, some of these thieves also went to some restaurants and said, I need a fictitious invoice that you fed 100 people. You're not going to feed 100 people. You're just going to help me steal the money, and I'll kick back some of the money to you. Do you think those restaurant thieves should be prosecuted?
I think if they have committed crimes, they should be prosecuted.
Regardless of their ethnicity?
Regardless of their ethnicity.
Okay. You had some other people in Minnesota who had a different scam. They went to the Medicaid department and said, I need state taxpayer money and federal taxpayer money to provide services to autistic children. And they got the money. And then to maximize the fruits of their theft, they went to well, first, do you think those people who...
Same answer to the question.
Okay. Now, in order to generate more money they could steal, they went to some families and said, do you have children? And some of the families said, yeah, we have kids. And they said, the thieves said, are your children autistic? And they said, well, no. And the thieves said, well, would you agree to sign paperwork to say they're autistic if we kick back to you some of the money? Do you think those families should be prosecuted?
Same answer.
Okay. And you don't think their ethnicity should matter?
Not a bit.
Okay. All right, Mr. Is it Hankerson?
Hankinson, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hankinson. Did I understand you to say that you have studied immigrant communities throughout the United States in terms of fraud levels on social services?
Not specifically, no. I've done visa interviews in many countries, tens of thousands of them, and I've looked at reports about fraud levels.
I misunderstood you. I'm sorry about that. It's been a long day. Mr. Byer, am I saying your name right?
It's Mr. Beer.
Mr. Beer. I like beer better.
Most people do.
Tell me that, I think I heard you say that some people, some folks who've come to our country and are trying to get status to stay, have applied to the Department of Health of DHS, and they've paid money, and DHS is doing nothing?
Oh, that's right. Yep, they're sitting on their applications, not processing them.
That's a pretty bold statement. How many people, I'm not saying you're wrong, I don't know. How many people we're talking about?
About half of the immigrant flow right now.
So
90 countries are affected by the State Department ban.
How many people is that?
Well, it's at least 300,000 abroad and probably twice that when you consider the people already in the U.S.
So you're saying that 300,000 folks have gone to DHS to seek some kind of permanent status or semi-permanent status to stay. At least 300,000, and they paid money to DHS, and DHS has done nothing. Is that what
That's right. Yeah, they're sitting on their applications.
Well, who at DHS is
putting
doing
them in the
this?
trash.
Who at DHS is doing this?
Oh, it's Joseph Edlow. He's
Who
in
is
charge
Joseph
of it.
Edlow?
He came up with this policy to just.
Who is he?
He's the head of USCIS. Joseph Edlow is the head of USCIS. He came up with this
He's
policy
the DHS?
where he is just.
Slow down a minute, man.
he's
You've
just-
had too much coffee. He's at DHS?
I'm just from New Jersey. So.
I understand. Great state, too. Who does he report to?
Secretary Noem, of course.
Okay. Does Secretary Noem know whether this?
I don't know what Secretary Noem knows, but she's aware of the general tenor of this administration.
What's his name?
Joseph Edlow.
Mr. Edlow. Who's his boss?
Secretary Noem.
Okay. And you can document all this?
Oh, absolutely. They put out a memorandum saying we're not processing these people, and Secretary Rubio's involved as well when it comes to the State Department.
Would you send me that memo, please?
I will absolutely send that to you.
I went way over. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, John.
I appreciate that.
Senator Kennedy, I'm informed that USCIS is slowing adjudication because of the huge backlog and the lack of vetting of these migrants during the Biden administration is the reason that we've been given.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard Mr. Beer, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong. Those are pretty bold allegations that they're taking the money and they're not doing anything, and I just want to know if it's true or not.
Well, they're making sure that these people are vetted, so we don't end up with people like the National Guards woman here in Washington, D.C. that was killed by an African.
I don't have a problem with vetting. I just want to know whether what the witness is saying is true. No,
They're not adjudicating them. They're not
Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Ranking Member Padilla. I believe that people who break the law have to go to jail, and people who steal taxpayer money have to go to jail.
What stood out immediately in this hearing was the sheer scale and audacity of the fraud being described. We're talking about individuals and groups going to government agencies, requesting funds under the pretense of helping vulnerable populations, and then turning around and stealing that money. Not mismanaging it, not misallocating it, stealing it. And here's the part that should concern every hardworking citizen. These were taxpayer dollars. Money taken from Americans who wake up early, go to work, pay their taxes, and expect that those funds will be used responsibly to help the needy, to support infrastructure, to strengthen communities. Instead, according to this testimony, some of that money ended up lining the pockets of criminals. The senator questioning the witnesses made one thing very clear, and I agree with him completely. If you commit a crime, you should be prosecuted. Period. No exceptions, no excuses, and certainly no consideration of ethnicity or background. The law should be blind. Justice should be equal. But what we're seeing more and more in today's political climate is an attempt to complicate that simple principle. There's this hesitation, this reluctance in some circles to call out wrongdoing when it might intersect with politically sensitive topics. That's dangerous, because when you start picking and choosing who gets held accountable based on identity instead of actions, you undermine the entire justice system. Now let's talk about the mechanics of these scams, because they're not just random acts of fraud. These are coordinated efforts. Individuals allegedly approached restaurants and asked for fake invoices, claiming they fed large groups of people who never existed. In return, the restaurants would get a cut of the stolen money. That's not just fraud, that's conspiracy. And it gets worse. In another scheme, people allegedly claimed to provide services for autistic children. Think about that for a second. Programs designed to support families dealing with real challenges were exploited, and to maximize profits. These fraudsters reportedly convinced families to falsely claim their children were autistic in exchange for kickbacks. If it doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what will. This is exactly why oversight matters. This is why strong institutions matter. And this is why a government that expands endlessly without proper accountability becomes a breeding ground for abuse. When you have massive programs with billions of dollars flowing through them, but weak enforcement and bureaucratic inefficiency, you create opportunities for bad actors. And that brings us to another critical part of the hearing: immigration and administrative backlog. One of the witnesses claimed that hundreds of thousands of immigration-related applications are sitting unprocessed despite applicants paying fees. Now, if true, that's another form of failure. People paying into a system that isn't delivering results. Let me be clear. I believe in a legal immigration system that works, but it has to be orderly, transparent, and accountable. When you have massive backlogs, unclear policies, and allegations that officials are simply not processing applications, it creates chaos. And chaos is where corruption thrives. We also heard claims about policy decisions slowing down processing due to lack of proper vetting in previous administrations. Whether you agree with that reasoning or not, the bottom line is this: government systems must function efficiently and fairly. If people are paying for a service, they deserve timely and honest handling of their cases. Now, let's connect the dots. You have large government programs distributing huge sums of money. You have insufficient oversight, allowing fraud to occur. You have bureaucratic inefficiencies leading to delays and confusion. And you have political sensitivities that sometimes prevent direct accountability. That combination is a recipe for disaster. As a right-leaning patriot, I believe in limited government, not because I don't care about people, but because I do. When government becomes too large and too complex, it loses its ability to serve effectively. It becomes slow, wasteful, and vulnerable to exploitation. The solution is not to ignore these programs entirely, but to reform them. Tighten oversight. Enforce strict penalties for fraud. Increase transparency so taxpayers can see exactly where their money is going. And most importantly, remove politics from the equation when it comes to enforcing the law. If someone steals taxpayer money, they should be prosecuted. I don't care who they are, where they come from, or what group they belong to. Accountability must be universal. This hearing is a wake-up call. It shows us that good intentions are not enough. You can design a program to help the poor, to support families, to improve society. But if you don't protect it from abuse, it will be exploited. And when it is exploited, it's not just the government that loses. It's the people who genuinely need help. It's the taxpayers who foot the bill. It's the integrity of the system itself. So where do we go from here? We demand better. We demand transparency. We demand accountability. And we support leaders who are willing to ask tough questions, challenge the system, and ensure that justice is applied equally. If you made it this far, you already know this isn't just about one hearing. This is about the direction of the country. It's about whether we're willing to confront uncomfortable truths and fix broken systems. If you agree, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Freedom Forge, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the more people understand what's really going on, the harder it becomes for these issues to be ignored. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and stand for freedom.